What's up, everybody? Welcome to Move the Sticks. DJ Buck with you, and excited to have the new head football coach at Appalachian State University, Dowell Loggains, joining the show. Coach, how are we doing?
Doing great. Wonderful to be sitting in this office right now, and so much respect for the people that have come before me, like you. That every day I walk down the hall and I see your face on the wall. So, unbelievable opportunity. I'm so excited to be on with you guys today.
We're gonna get through the whole background and what's got you to this point, but I do have to ask you, what was the biggest surprise for you so far since you've been there?
Oh my gosh, so I had an opportunity to meet with all the players, the previous staff, a bunch of donors, a bunch of supporters, but just the biggest surprise is how much pride that the people have in this place, and whether it's the community, the region. That it is a place that is loved. There's a very high standard here, and the expectation is to win. And you walk by, and it's all these pictures of rings and conference championships and all these great alumni. You just feel it's really hard to be at a place if they don't understand what winning looks like. It's hard to create it, and you can sell a vision. But what intrigued me about this place is they know how to win, and winning is really important around here, and they do it the right way.
You know, Coach, and thinking about that, doing it the right way, and really a different frontier that you're stepping into, college landscape, like you hear everyone talk about how crazy it is with the portal and the different timelines and those things. So how challenging has it been to manage all of the portal stuff while also trying to assemble a staff and put together all of the other things that you have to do as a new head coach?
Yeah, it is a challenge. And I don't know if the calendar is the way it should be, but it is what it is. So right now, this is what we're doing. We're worried about our own players, keeping them, retaining the ones we want to retain. You're dealing with NIL, which is NFL free agency with no salary cap. You're trying to assess what's in the portal. Does it make you better? But here's where you can make mistakes. If you don't research a kid, if you don't talk to the trainer of the place he's coming from, you don't talk to the strength coach, if you don't talk to the high school coach, you're not being thorough. So you got to be thorough and go through the process of evaluation to make sure you're doing all those things right. And because you're so limited and everything, it's speed dating. On top of trying to figure out, is there people on the staff you want to keep, or trying to get people at other programs that you want to come be part of your staff. Some people are still playing. Some people are in a college football playoff. So it's a challenging time as a college coach, but it's why we sign up for these opportunities to figure it out. And the calendar is what it is. You'd love to make some edits to it, but you make the most of the situation, and there is definitely a lot going on.
After a decade plus in the NFL, you go back to Arkansas, get a couple years coaching there, then a very successful stint as OC there at South Carolina. How beneficial was having that little buffer college experience before you step into this role as a head coach at the collegiate level versus maybe just coming straight from the NFL and jumping right into that gig?
It was beneficial. There was also, between the Jets, when they let the head coach go, about a 4-month cup of coffee with Coach Franklin at Penn State.
Okay.
And so when we had an unbelievable general manager at the New York Jets, I learned a ton from Joe Douglas, obviously, about the evaluation process, and he is a bright evaluator. He is a very talented person, a stud of a human being. Learned a ton from him, so I was fortunate to be around him. And then, we're trying to make the transition into the NFL, and you go to places and you see, the structure between the ownership, the general manager, the head coach, and, got really intrigued with college football. And so Coach Franklin had an opportunity, and I wasn't sure. I didn't want to take the job. It's kind of like, hey, I'm still getting paid by the Jets, a couple of NFL opportunities, but I never coached in college. I had an interest in the pageantry, the tradition, the history of college football. So I went with Coach Franklin for about 4 months, learned about this guy's created a consistency at a program for a long period of time. And he's really bright, and he's a forward thinker. And I watched how he grinded recruiting. And this guy's Freddy Krueger of recruiting. He is relentless, and he doesn't die. It's talked about every day. And I remember walking to staff meetings every morning at 7:15, and he's going around hey, who'd you talk to last night? Who'd you talk to? Well, this is who I talked to. And when the head coach recruits the way he recruits, it's no secret why they've built longevity over a long period of time. And then Sam Pittman calls me. He's the head coach at Arkansas, and I'm an alum and played there. And I've never met him in my life. And he's telling me, hey, come to Arkansas and help me out. And I said, Coach, I don't want to. But if it doesn't work out, I don't. If I stay for a year, I don't want you to be mad at me. He said, you're doing your university a favor if you come back. So I was like, all right, if y'all need me, I'll come for 1 year. That's all I'm promising. And so I go to Arkansas, and Coach Franklin was great through the process. He's like, hey, look, if you want to do this, you need to go prove that you can recruit in the SEC. Mm-hmm. We know you can coach. You've been a coordinator in the NFL for 4 different teams, blah, 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 blah. But you got to go prove that you can recruit in the SEC. So we go to Arkansas. I was a tight end coach, and for about 9 weeks, I think I was the 24/7 like #1 recruiter of the year, whatever that means. And I'm over there, and I had a chip on my shoulder because there were people that, hey, can this guy recruit? He's only coached in the NFL, and I just watched Freddie Krueger for 4 months recruit, and so I'm like, hey, we can just outwork people and sign players. Like we're willing to do more than the next guy. So go there, and signed a great class, and I liked it. So I stayed a second year at Arkansas. I enjoyed the players. I enjoyed the atmosphere, college football. And then the opportunity came in South Carolina, and it was a coordinator job, and it took me a little bit of time to make a decision. I was talking to 2 or 3 different SEC schools about the coordinator job, but there was something about South Carolina and Spencer Rattler that didn't really intrigue me because of Spence. So I go there, and Spence has a good year. I think we're 3rd in the conference in passing, and we developed this. I remember I was telling a recruit this today. Probably about this time 2 years ago, this big 6'2", 215-pound guy walks in my office. And I'm like, hey, what's up? And he's like, hey, Paul, I mean, maybe I should transfer, and he just, the ball just hadn't found me. He's an unbelievable country kid. I said, give me till May. I said, because I think I might see something in you that you don't see in yourself. And he gives us till May, and I'll watch him. He's the hardest worker on the team. He's out there nonstop, competing, bought into everything we asked him. And he'd only had 170 yards for his career, and his name's Xavier Leggett, and he won the first round because he's just an extremely talented kid that's bought into everything we asked him to do. And a great story about X. We're sitting there on draft day, and it's the NFL draft, first round. And he's projected, late first, early second. And on draft day, he's out looking out my window, and I'm watching him and Lenore Sellers run routes on draft day. And it was who the kid is. He earned everything he got, and just had a great time at South Carolina. And the second year, we have a quarterback that no one knows, and everyone's picking us to win 4 games. And when I got there to South Carolina, they weren't recruiting him. He was committed to Syracuse, and I watched his tape. And Daniel appreciated this about the recruiting process and evaluation process. He'd won everywhere he'd been. Great soccer player, scored like 29 goals in high school, which great. Oh, wow. Yeah, great feat, which obviously there's a comparison to quarterback play. I think boxers, because they always have a base, soccer players, great feet, move in the pocket. And he had a pedigree of winning. And he'd overcome hard. He tore ACL, overcame hard things. And he was just this raw kid. And I walk in, I'm like, hey, why have we not offered this guy? I'm like, well, do you like him? I'm like, yeah. So we go on him. And we got about 10 days to sign him. He's committed to Syracuse. And this kid, he's not asking about NIL. He's not asking about recruiting trips. He's asking about protections. Can you change protections? What's the passing game look like? How are you going to develop me? What's your year-round process for developing quarterbacks? And we get him, and no one knows about him. Struggles for about 3 games this year. It was choppy the first 3 or 4 games of the season. He played bad against Old Dominion. But then the last 6 weeks of the season, he gets as hot as any quarterback in the conference, in the country. I think he's the best quarterback in the country right now. And just an unbelievable time getting to coach Lenore Sellers. I mean, unbelievable. And I told in the interview process, I don't know if I told DJ this or not, but they're like, hey, what would hold you up from taking this job? I'm like, it's App State, like all the wins and tradition and the brand. Like, there's one thing. I got to call Lenore Sellers and tell him I'm leaving.
Oh,
and that was hard. And it's like, you talk about the only thing that you struggle with when you have an unbelievable opportunity to sit in a chair like this and represent the people that have come before me at this place. But to make that phone call, it's a blessing to have him in our lives. I'm texting with him 20 minutes ago about the 2-minute drill practice yesterday, because obviously I can't be there and I'm here working and recruiting. But just so fortunate to have the people in my life that I've had, the mentors I've had, and so blessed to be right here right now.
Coach, there's so many things out of that little conversation, but what I'm hearing is we can talk about a portal and a new way of building the team, but it still seems like relationships matter. So as you're thinking about building your program, and we're talking about building it over time, how do you balance that? Hey, we have so many high school kids, we have so many portal guys. I have the current team. How do you build all that, but to get everyone to really be a part of the team and not a bunch of mercenaries trying to seek their own individual success?
Yeah, it is. I want that whole thing to be built on two things. That's relationships and competition. And relationships are only built with great trust. And you have to build in 2024 and 2025, you have to build relationships where they really struggle to walk in there and say, Coach, I want to check out the transfer portal. Mm-hmm. And there might be more out there. And we've had a lot of success here in the last, week or two. We've kept a lot of them. And we've got some kids jumping back in just because the other ones are talking about, hey, this feels different. And there's real relationships. And they're barging in the office. When I'm meeting with recruits and they're barging in the office, they knock and just pop in. I'm like, hey, hold on now. Like, hey, you want that kind of culture. You want where they want to hang around. They want to come sit on your couch and talk, because that's what's going to keep them here. And when these SEC schools start trying to tamper with your roster, like, you have to have great relationships. And it's a great question, Buck, how do you build this thing? And we look at like the NFL model of high school recruiting is the draft. The portal is free agency. And DJ can appreciate this because he learned from the godfather of scouting, Ozzie Newsome. The Ravens and Steelers for about the last 30 years, I know he probably doesn't like me mentioning the Steelers, but the last 20 years have been the most consistent teams in the NFL. And they built consistency through nailing the draft and nailing the evaluation process. And then you supplement with free agency, which is the transfer portal. And if you're doing a great job of evaluation with the high school kids, then it's about roster retention. And unfortunately, we don't have there are no boundaries, so you're not tied to a contract. There is no salary cap. So you better have great relationships when it gets people are trying to get into your current players, DMs, and their high school coaches and their trainers. You better have great relationships where there's open lines of communication to continue to pursue those guys there and keep them here.
How is a conversation along those lines? Because I've always been curious about that. The guy comes in your office and you look around in that building now and you can see the number of players that have come out of that program that have played in the NFL. How do you relay the message to a kid to try and explain it tactfully that, hey, I know that this X team is offering you a little more than we can offer you now, but you're literally stepping over an NFL dollar to pick up a nickel. Like, how do you have that conversation? How does that go? So,
yeah, it's a great question. We've had probably 10 or 15 SEC players in here. And you remind them, the SEC, the NIL is real there. And it's been real for a long time there. They just do it publicly now, or it used to be under the table. But we have a cell here that a lot of teams don't have, and that's 17 years in the NFL and what that looks like, and tailoring systems around skill sets. And, we talk about what we did for Spencer. We were third in the conference in passing with Spencer. Then all of a sudden we get Rocket Sanders and Lenore Sellers, and we're third in rushing. And we went from being an outside zone team to a tight zone and gap team. So it's about building systems and, making the NFL piece of this attractive to them. It's also, I had a conversation with a kid this morning, like, hey, you can go to this SEC team or this SEC team, but you're coming from an SEC team and you know what the bells and whistles are. You know what it looks like to play in front of 100,000. But remember the feeling when you're driving through that cookout line with your girlfriend to get that milkshake, and you're really excited about winning that game, but you want to do more and you want to impact more. So there's an opportunity here as well to develop your skill set. And that's why I think we've had some kids here that in the past they haven't had here in the recruiting process and getting on visits. And I think our staff's done a nice job getting people here. We got to sign, close some of these guys out and sign them, but we have a lot to sell here.
Look, it is a fascinating time when I hear you talk about that. As a head coach and thinking about like more responsibilities on your plate, you come from being an offensive coordinator, play caller, and all those things. How can you anticipate managing all that, running the entire team, but knowing that the offense has always been your baby? Do you think you can have a is it going to be a challenge for you to leave that to go focus on all parts of the team?
No, and I think you do it with the people you surround yourself by good people, and you play out their strengths. And if someone's better at running the offense, you let them run the offense. If you make sure that you define roles, I think part of the advantage of being in the NFL, you understand the importance of having a good general manager and having a guy that can handle a cap and have good evaluators. Half the job of the head coach now is to evaluate the evaluators. So you got to know which assistant coaches that are really good evaluators and you can trust and can project versus the guys that are really good at the solicitation part of recruiting and can work really hard in those things. So I think it's managing people and it's figuring out strengths and weaknesses. I think that's always the key to any leadership role. It's also getting people that have the same vision of where the program is and what DJ can tell you this, and I learned it from one of his good friends, Jeremiah Washburn. Is you got to create a culture of when you go talk about the mashed potatoes, you got to say, hey, those are purple mashed potatoes because that's your grading scale. And purple's good and red's elite and blue's elite and red's good and purple's average. Well, hey, these are purple mashed potatoes. And you create a vision where everyone's talking the same, but hey, we got blue steak. And when you're talking about a player, you're talking about, hey, Lenore Sellers has blue feet. And he's got red arm talent, or he's got, red accuracy. So you're creating a culture of alignment, and you're creating a culture of so you can create the same vision for everything. And the only way to do it is, I remember with being with Wash, who's our offensive line coach with the Bears and Dolphins, and he'd walk in and be like, Dow, mashed potatoes are purple today. I knew exactly what that looked like. and so I was going down, I don't want average mashed potatoes right now. But it's a common language, it's a common vision, and it's how you handle the ups and downs of this. I had a recruit here today and asked, hey, coach, how do you handle Buck, to your point of what does it look like when things aren't going great? And people think about South Carolina, they remember the 9 wins. They forget about the 3 losses we had in a row. And we lose to Alabama on a 2-point conversion when we miss a throw. We lose to LSU where everyone in the country is going to talk about officiating. And we got beat by Ole Miss, who just beat us. And then how do you keep that thing together and win 6 in a row? So it still comes down to people. And it comes down to relationships. And it comes down to trust.
Coach, have you had a chance to get any biscuits yet? Have we got a chance to get to the Daniel Boone Inn yet? Have we got a chance to really?
We haven't. The last time Beth and the kids were here, they'll be back tonight, and we're going to try to go by there, and it was closed. It closed at 8:00 one night, but I've hit it. Okay. I've had a couple other spots.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's the food is good. Excited about that. I know how to get to the hotel and the football building. That's about it right now.
Nice. It's a blue biscuit. I'm just going to tell you right now. It's a blue biscuit. It's a blue biscuit.
I know what that looks like then. See, but I can't wait because I know what blue biscuit looks like.
That's fantastic. Hey, Coach, I'm so excited for you. I'm rooting for you. It's going to be an exciting chapter here. And one of the things I got to tell you that's exciting about where college football is right now, and people maybe don't love the way it's changed. I'll tell you what. You can offer everything to a kid that comes to App State. There is an opportunity to get in the playoff to try and win a national championship. I never thought in a million years that could be something you could sell at a place like App State, but you absolutely can now. But why set your sights any lower than that?
Yeah, I agree 100%. And you don't want to be the unbelievable past and history that you guys have created here, which, wow, it's awesome. But let's not set our limits and our vision to just what we have accomplished. Let's push this thing further than it's ever been pushed before. So there is an opportunity to do really special things and add on the culture that you guys have already created of winning. And so much credit to you guys for what you have created here. And it is a brand now that is nationally known, and you can accomplish anything you want to accomplish right here.
I appreciate it. This has been fun. Best of luck in recruiting. I know you're busy. Get the staff finalized. Get the roster going here. Excited for you, and let's catch up soon.
Appreciate it. Make sure, get back here this spring now.
I know. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
Daniel Kilgore, our center, he was here at the press conference We got to make sure we get all. You got Dexter Coakley's already been in my office to see me. What a great visit that was. Unbelievable.
He's a stud.
He's a stud. And I grew up in Dallas, Texas, and the Dallas Cowboys, I'm watching these Super Bowls. I'm like, he comes to introduce himself. I'm like, Dexter, I know who you are. I know about Dat Wynn and Darren Smith. Like, I know about you before you knew about, like, I know you. So it was an honor to have him, but we got to get you back over here soon. And, I have to walk by and see pictures of you all the time. So,
well, I'm on my way. I'll see you up there this spring, man. We appreciate you, Coach.
Appreciate you guys.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, there you go. Fun conversation there. Selfish. I always love getting a chance to talk App State football. It is a rich tradition, rich culture, and am excited for Dowell Loggains to get this opportunity. First-time head coach, but a lot of experience. And as you can tell from that conversation, a ton of energy and excitement about what's in store and what's ahead there for the football program on the mountain up there in Boone for Appalachian State. Hope you guys have enjoyed this conversation. Hope you enjoyed this pod. We'll see you next time right here on Move the Sticks.